Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Alice from Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, wanted to know if I prefer one-on-one readings, group readings, or large group readings, which is most comfortable for me. And I have to say that I love all my readings, okay? But the one that really just hits me with so much energy and so much information, of course, are the larger group meetings. The more people that are there, the more energy that comes in. So that's why I often encourage a lot of mediums out there who aren't comfortable doing group readings to at least try it. Because if you're truly connecting to spirit, again, this goes hand in hand, liking this with being a true evidential medium. If you're a charlatan and you stand in front of a group, of course you're going to be intimidated and frightened and not sure of yourself and fishing for information because it's not really coming from spirit. It's not coming from a place of light. But if you're truly connecting with God and spirit, then, you have no fear, you have no worry, you have no anxiety. And people will often say to me, why don't you get nervous when you do your group readings? Because I've done very large group readings. And I say because I don't feel like I'm alone. I understand that I, have this strong connection. I'm a seer, I'm clairvoyant. So for me, if there's a large group present, I'll see the energies start to pull in and stand next to each person. For me, I'm a very organized medium. So left side is mother's side, right side is father's side. So if there's 100 people in the room, and energies start pulling in, and I see a mother go to the left, and I see an energy going, father going to the right, I'm able to say to this person, whether they're very young or very old, oh, you have a mother energy standing on the left side of you. And I organize them, mother closest to the shoulder, and then grandmother and great-grandmother. It doesn't serve anyone to bring in information. I used to know a girl who always said, oh, you have a great-great-great-grandmother. Well, we all do, but you can't validate any of the information that comes in, so for me, I'm all about evidence and proof. And, it's real easy to look at an elderly person and say, oh, you have a mother next to you. Well, of course they do. If that person's in their 70s or 80s, what would the mother be? 110? So of course they're going to have a mother standing next to them. So for me, it's all about being truthful and trusting to the point that I trust when they step in and they stand closest that it's a mother or a maternal grandmother. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate a mother from a grandmother because in some cases, like in my case, was very close to my maternal grandmother because she raised me for part of my growing up years. She raised me till I was about 7.5 and 8 years old when my own parents adopted me and began raising me themselves as my parents. So when my grandmother pulls in, for other people who have read me, medium friends, they'll say, well, this energy pulls in, it feels like a mother to me, but so I'm not understanding. And I'll say, well, yes, that's my maternal grandmother because she had something to do with my raising. So, if a grandmother pulls in and they lived with the child rather, had something to do with the raising of that child, sometimes that will feel like a mother energy. So sometimes it's a little hard to say whether it's a mother or maternal grandmother, but generally, I'm able to tap into the energy. But I do teach to not put yourself in a box or in a corner and say, this is definitely your mother, or this is definitely your Uncle Bill, or this is, definitely should never be used when you're doing this work, because remember that there's always a veil between worlds. And we do not have the ability, and no one ever will. It's not like it is on television where you can just sit with a spirit and talk to them like we're communicating with each other right now. And you've heard me say, I always say to my students, if the day comes that you're able to communicate with spirit like I'm communicating with you right now, check your pulse, because chances are you're over there, okay? Because there is a veil between worlds, so we have to form our own language with spirit. So they'll call out names, they'll call out dates, they'll work very symbolically with us. So that's the way it works. But I do like all readings, but I love the energy that I get from large groups because so many I see them stepping in and so much energy comes in. And once I'm able to tap into an energy, in other words, if there's 100 people and I go right to one woman who has a mother standing next to her, and the mother is kind of waving, because they will wave to me on occasion, the spirit, I will pull into that energy, and then the information starts to come in like a download. I always do this because the soul is in the right side of the brain, so for me it comes in. It's almost like when you hit the enter button on a computer and the information just comes in, and that's the way it works for me. So I do love all my readings, but I really, really enjoy the energy of a large group reading the most. So I hope that answers your question, and as always, I leave you in God's love and light.